It is terrible to think about someone getting a life sentence. Acting without sorrow after committing a crime lets us realize that there are people out there who have no empathy. Let's see how much worse these murderers can respond to the victims' impact statements. Number 5. Jeremy Christian. He was detained in Portland, Oregon in connection with the murder of 2 men while on Max Light Rail. Christian murdered 23-year-old Talisin Mirdin Namkai Meche and 53-year-old Ricky John Best in May 2017 by stabbing them. Micah Fletcher, aged 21, was also stabbed by him but he survived. Christian was caught on camera hurling racist and anti-Muslim epithets at 2 black adolescents. In response to continued attempts to defuse the situation, Christian raised a knife, made threats to attack the victims, and then really did stab them. After this, at the next transportation hub, Christian got off the train. He was subsequently arrested by the police after bragging about having stabbed 2 individuals. But killing 2 individuals in broad daylight is insufficient. It was what transpired in court that shocked the judge and jury. He faces 2 murder charges and 1 attempted murder charge. He not only showed no remorse for his conduct, but he also threatened to kill a victim's family in court. This is Christian's answer to a victim impact statement that was read aloud at the trial by a relative of the victim. Christian was ultimately given 2 consecutive life sentences. Evidence of his criminal past surfaced during the trial. The day before the murders, Christian was seen allegedly assaulting a woman, and therefore the judge added 25 years to his 2 life sentences for these additional offenses. Number 4. Randall Moore. We take you to the Polk County courtroom, where Randall Moore is on trial for killing Therese Ann and Marie Lynch, his ex-wife. Moore killed Lynch and sexually raped her in November 2011. It started when Lynch applied for a protective order against Moore and then left him. He took Lynch prisoner and created a hostage crisis. Officer Todd Rowland is the one who rushed to the cries coming from the apartment and opened fire. Officer Rowland was fortunate to survive the gunshot. Moore discusses his motivation for killing his wife during a phone chat with 911. Eventually, the police were able to enter the home and take him into custody. Judge Joel Novak informed Moore that he had been found guilty of all charges. One of the most disrespectful events to ever occur in a court of law occurs when the judge permits the victim's family to read their victim impact statement. Other speakers interjected Lynch's mother's comments on the victim impact as she stood on the witness stand and read a somber statement. He displayed no remorse for his conduct. Moore attempted to excuse his acts, and the only person to receive any sort of remorse from him was the officer Todd he shot. Judge Novak, who spoke last, chastised the man further for his wicked behavior and expressed disbelief at such a degree of heartlessness. Have a look at it. In the end, Moore received 3 life sentences for Lynch's murder and 25 years for killing police officer Rowland. Number 3. Camia Gamet. The 31-year-old is on trial for killing her 38-year-old partner, Marcel Hill, with whom she shared a home in Michigan. And in a fit of rage, she attacked her lover in May 2018 after smashing the entire residence and utilizing a number of objects. According to testimony given in court, Hill was already dead and Gamet was covered in blood when the police showed up in response to calls from the neighbors. They found a bloody cooking pan, a bloody knife, and a broken floor lamp. She repeatedly attacked her lover with a knife, according to the prosecution. She kept saying that she stabbed her boyfriend out of self-defense. She would have known the boyfriend or his voice, therefore the defendant's account didn't hold up under inspection. If Hill had received 1 or 2 stab wounds, the judge could have believed Gamet's account of the incident. Yet the evidence that was produced in court demonstrated that Gamet repeatedly struck Hill with a frying pan while stabbing him 12 times. She continued to argue that everything was done in self-defense. Judge John McBain was unimpressed by her assertions regarding the lying. The court requested a family member of Hill to give a victim impact statement. When Hill's aunt read the statement, Gamet showed no remorse, rolled her eyes, and even smiled. When Gamet reacted this time, Judge McBain wasn't as nice and threatened to tape her mouth. Let's have a look at it.
You're gonna shut your mouth or I'm gonna have some duct tape put on it.
Well, he attacked
All right, we'll wait here for a moment so we can get her quiet.
However, Gamet's actions have already infuriated the prosecutor. Judge McBain gave her his thoughts on her and the offense she committed before he handed down his ruling. As a result of the court taking her history of domestic violence into account, Gamut was given a life sentence without the chance of parole. Number 2, Keith Allen Ferguson. Keith Allen Ferguson, age 40, allegedly murdered his father-in-law James Weber and his wife Tiffany Ferguson in November 2014. Ferguson is accused of 12 felonies, including first and second-degree murder and kidnapping. Tiffany Ferguson had taken steps to dissolve her 17-year marriage to Keith Ferguson. Their 4 children were unmoved as Keith attacked Tiffany during a dispute about the divorce, shot her, and killed her. Keith took the children to the home of Tiffany's parents, where he shot Tiffany's father to death. After killing his father-in-law, Keith fled to a nearby house where he locked himself inside while holding the 59-year-old woman hostage. It took 7 hours for Keith to give up and release her. Ferguson appeared bored with the entire legal procedure and frequently yelled at the judge, demonstrating that he was anything but sorry for his conduct. Tiffany's best friend Carla Seating read the victim's impact statement. She noted that Tiffany had been living in fear of Keith and that she knew Keith was trouble. Here, Keith made it clear that he was not interested in seeing or talking to his children again. In exchange for the remaining 10 counts against him being dropped, Keith admitted to killing his wife and father-in-law, leading the judge George Mertz to question his sanity. He received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Number 1, Ronnie O'Neill III. Ronnie is on trial for the double murder of his partner Kenyatta Barron, 33, and daughter Ronivea O'Neill, 9. On the evening of March 18, 2018, Ronnie shot Barron dead in Riverview, Florida, and repeatedly hit his daughter with an axe until she was no longer with us. He gravely injured Ronnie O'Neill IV, his 8-year-old son, by stabbing him. Less than 10 minutes after Barron's frantic 911 call the night of the murder, Ronnie dialed the same number. Ronnie claimed to have been attacked by white demons and accused Barron of trying to kill him before giving his address. However, Ronnie didn't stop there. After concluding that everyone had died, he then sprinkled the house in gasoline and set it on fire. Fortunately, his son managed to flee while suffering from burns and stab wounds. He was attended to by Detective Mike Blair, who also made sure he was transferred to the hospital. Ronnie was arrested by the police once they were able to catch up with him. If you had previously believed that someone who committed such horrible acts would attempt to act decently in front of a judge and jury who were deciding his fate, allow this to persuade you otherwise. The trial for Ronnie started in 2021, and he insisted on acting as his own counsel since he felt prepared psychologically. What follows is difficult to hear. Ronnie cross-examined his son, who was a witness for the prosecution and had fully healed from the burns and stab wounds Ronnie inflicted on him during the trial. His son described the circumstances surrounding the tragic night in court. However, Ronnie contended that the recording the prosecution used as evidence was fake and that his son had lied about the circumstances. Ronnie originally filed motions and asserted that he was acting in self-defense. However, the judge disapproved of it. 2 counts of first-degree murder were among the 7 charges against Ronnie that were judged to be true. 1 count of attempted first-degree murder and 2 charges of severe child abuse. Ronnie stated that he wasn't remorseful for his misdeeds following his imprisonment, but he didn't completely put it to rest. Judge Michelle Sisko, who has worked in the legal field for almost 20 years, handed out the punishment before Ronnie. Ronnie received 3 sentences of life in prison with no possibility of release. Not even a hint of remorse for the horrific crime they committed can be seen in their faces. How could somebody be so harsh? Has society degraded to the point where empathy for the victim's family is non-existent? What do you think about this? Let us know in the comments.